Okay, time to respond to this very bad advice for a young guy who wants to get married.
All right, so last week I started a new series called Advice from Dad, where I answer questions that I get from my followers seeking advice on various issues that they're facing. This week I got a great question.
Now, the only way I'd listen to advice from a dad if the dad had gotten married, gotten divorced, and said, I'll never do that again. Any guy who's still in the marriage is the last guy you want to go to about marriage advice.
From a young man who's seeking some advice on his relationship. Let's dive in. He writes, I've been watching your videos a lot here lately. I've been struggling with the relationship I'm currently in now more than ever in the 3-year relationship.
Of course you have, buddy, because that's what relationships are for men. Struggle. Men get into relationships hoping you'll find peace and tranquility, but that's a false hope because it doesn't happen. Women like drama and they select you to labor for them. There's never going, and they don't respect men. So there's never going to be any peace and tranquility in the typical relationship between men and women.
I am 21 and have always had issues trusting women because of my mom and dad's relationship and how it evaporated into a divorce that dragged my sister and I through hell and back. My problem
Okay, so this guy has real life experience of what relationships are, and he rightfully doesn't trust the opposite sex, right? But this goes beyond his own personal experience, because this is happening worldwide and it's been happening for decades. So he already knows the deal. So this guy is a lost cause as far as I'm concerned.
problem is I've never been able to trust any girl I've been with until this one. She's a great girl. She just graduated from college and is in the first year of teaching and coaching. The problem
Okay, so what's so special about this girl? He doesn't say anything. He doesn't give any details, right? I suspect the only difference between this one and the other ones is she accepted his bribe. That's what's good to men, by the way, is this woman said yes.
problem is that in today's society, I can't decide if I want to spend my life with her and bring kids into this nasty world.
Okay, this guy is a coward by saying that. This is the safest time to ever bring kids into the world. Uh, you think it's dangerous now? Try going back 100 years or 200 years. Right. So what is this guy is afraid for himself, which he should be rightfully, and he's too afraid to admit that, so he hides behind children. I'm telling you now, I have no respect for that.
I've also never thought sex would be such a hard thing to accomplish when you sleep next to your partner every night.
Wow. So you're finding out women aren't interested in sex. This woman was willing to become a housewife leech to you, right? And she's just there for your provision. And she's not interested in intimacy with you. That's what sex is to men, everyone. Intimacy. So this woman doesn't love this guy at all.
I work long hours, and when I get home at night, it would be nice to come home to a woman enthusiastic to see me and appreciative of the hours I'm working to pay our bills. Because the last year we've been living on one income. I am not saying that.
That's right, his income. And that's why she selected you, dude. And this is a college woman, right? Who's got her own job, right? Well, she doesn't. She quit her job because that's why women get married. She is a typical poor woman who wasted a slot at university because she never planned on working. She found a sucker, that's you, young guy, and now she's leeching off you. And she's telling you she's not interested in you as a person, and she doesn't find you sexy. She's probably not interested in sex, period.
Sex is everything in a relationship, but without makes me question my worth as a man to her. I've tried talking with.
Okay, this is a loser. Why would you question yourself as a man when it's obviously her problem, right? And it's obvious that she's just not into this guy. She might not be into men at all. And I don't mean gay. She just may not be into sex. Okay, now back this up.
Makes me question my worth as a man to her. I've tried talking with her multiple times about it in the most respectful manner possible, but in
Okay,
the end, it seems we're losing our intimacy. I know.
okay. It's not our intimacy. She never wanted intimacy with you, first of all, guy. And this is more gaslighting about communication, right? That's why you never go to therapy. Therapy, they accuse the man of not communicating. You talk to this woman all the time and you're frank and honest, and she isn't. She isn't interested in you. Do you understand that? So you bail and find something else to do, right? You live your life as best you can without this leech. This is what this woman is. She's a leech. She quit her job to leech off you.
No, she would never run around on me, but I think maybe we are two different people in that regard.
How would he know that she never would run around on him? He doesn't know anything like that. Matter of fact, I would bet money that she would run around on him, because guys are always shocked when they do. If she doesn't run around on you, it's because she's not interested in men in general, right? But also notice this guy, he's willing to bribe a woman who's not interested in him and deal with a sexless marriage. What, rather than the idea of another man getting some. Who's more likely to sleep with you? A woman who likes sex and is eyeing the other guys, or the woman who never looks at other men? She's probably not interested in sex, right? So all these stupid trad cons do the same thing. They look at a woman who's not interested in men, and then they shack up with them and think they're going to be interested in sex, right?
If you could you speak to that at all? I'm struggling to make a decision on my future. The way I look at it is, if I'm going to get married and have kids, it's going to be with her. Without her, I'm going to set myself up for a future on my own. Thank you. All right, so first thing I want to say.
Okay, so his answer should be get lost, get out of there. She's not interested in you. She's leeching off you. That's what is your name? Men need to be heard. Men need to be heard. That's what should be saying to this guy.
To you is this: you're not alone. This is something that a lot of guys go through. And
thank you that you're admitting that this is standard. If women were interested in men, this wouldn't be a common occurrence.
It is a difficult situation to be in. Now, I'm not going to tell you.
No. It's not a difficult situation. It's an awful situation, and you put yourself there. These men, this guy has the power to eject. That's what he should be saying. This is a shitty situation. This guy is gaining nothing from this woman. Nothing. She's leeching off him, and she's not interested in him to be intimate with him. So there's nothing there. There's only negatives.
What to do, but I'm going to give you some things to think about, and then.
What do you mean? Well, I'm telling him what to do.
And you can make the decision on what's best for you, because only you know the answer to that. Okay, with regard to your difficulties trusting due to dealing with the divorce of your mom and dad, I totally get it. I went through the exact same thing. And
Thank you for admitting that. So does that mean your parents got divorced or that you got divorced? Either way, this is standard stuff. So, I mean, that's what men get from relationships.
It took me a while to realize this, but the thing I would say to you is, as best you can, you need to separate that and judge your relationship on its own merit. Now, I can't tell you how to do that if that's something.
Well, dude, I can tell him, because he told us what the merits of his relationship is, and there's zero merits. So I can tell him, I can say, get the hell out of there.
Then you're struggling with, you need to seek professional help on that. But just
professional help. You guys know, anyone who's watching my channel, what I think about therapy. Therapy is gaslighting the men. They'll come in there and he'll do the exact same thing at therapy as he's doing with this woman now, being open. And she'll gaslight him and shut him out because she's not interested in having intimacy with this guy. And she just wants to leech off him. And therapy will side with her.
Remember, she is not your mom and dad, and she shouldn't be judged based on what they did. Now you go on to mention.
No, but we can judge about what's going on worldwide. This is standard worldwide. We see it everywhere. Okay?
That she's a great girl. And it sounds to me like in general, you have a great life together. But
No, they don't, dude. What the hell are you on? The guy is working while she doesn't, and he comes home and she's not interested in him. How is that a great relationship? How's she a great girl?
I also understand what you're saying with you're not sure what you want to do in the future. As you mentioned earlier, you're only 21 years old. You've got a long life ahead of you and not much experience behind you. And I don't say that to knock you in any way, but that is the reality. When I was 21, I had no clue what I wanted. And
Guys, by the time I was 14, I could see what relationships were. I knew what I had to do to get the girl. But if I failed, is because I was like you guys, I was in denial of the reality that I was seeing. Because guys don't want to deal with the fact that women aren't interested in them. So you make excuses. I mean, that's what you're doing here in this video.
most 21-year-olds don't. And that's okay. It's called life. So the first thing I would say to you is give it more time before you make any decision. If she's true.
So he's with this woman for 3 years now, dude. How much more time does he need? He admits that the intimacy is evaporating, and he's talked to her. He already knows what's what. So what's he supposed to do? Wait around until she decides to eject him partially? Maybe make him pay child support, like wait till she becomes pregnant and then make him pay child support? You can't live your life once that happens.
Truly the one, she'll be willing to wait as much as you would be willing to wait for her. Now,
why would you need to wait? These two, she's out of college, he's working. She's either interested in him or she isn't.
as to the intimacy difficulties, well, my friend, this would take about 2 hours to unpack, but I'm going to.
No, it doesn't take 2 hours. She's not interested in him, Bob. What's your name again? Men need to be heard. Men need to be heard. She's not interested in him. She's telling him that for 3 years. So he already knows everything he needs to know.
Give you the short and sweet version, and hopefully this will help you. If you're struggling with it now, it's probably going to be a struggle through the entire relationship.
Well, there's a little bit of truth there. There's a little bit of truth. So it's time for him to get up and leave. He's paying this woman to be around him and leech off him. And he's getting nothing out of her. I mean, I'm telling him what to do because that's what he needs to, since he's asking. And it doesn't take 2 hours to say this.
Especially since you've already brought up your concerns and worries about it. If you've brought it up to her multiple times and nothing has changed and your worries or concerns haven't been addressed, that's a red flag.
She's addressed them. She's just refused them. She's told him how it's going to be. I'm not interested in you, but I feel like leeching off you. I mean, what's there to talk about? See, there's nothing to unpack. It only takes you 2 hours to unpack something if you're not willing to say what the truth is, if you're delusional about what's going on.
I'm not saying end the relationship, but it's something that
I am. The relationship is crap. So yes, dude, end the relationship. Get out of there while you're still free.
you do need to fix. And if you can't address it yourself, maybe see a couples therapist.
How can you fix it? Either the woman's into him or she's not. He can't fix her. She's not a machine. She's another person. If she decides she doesn't want to be fixed, it's over.
Therapist and see if that'll do anything if you do truly want to be with her for the rest of your life. That said, having talked to thousands of men, if that issue's there, it rarely, if ever, gets resolved. The final thing I want to say is this. You mentioned,
well, she doesn't change her ways, no.
That either she's the one or you're not going to get married at all. Look, I get that feeling, but again, I point out, you're a very young man of 21. She may or may not be the one, and I genuinely hope you can fix whatever problems you have and work it out.
So the one is a woman who's willing to stay, and that's it. That's hey, men need to be heard. That's the only criteria about being the one. She doesn't get up and leave. Or she doesn't kick you out of the relationship. Even though there's no way to see that. Well, I shouldn't say there's no way to see that. Men do see that. They see it coming because they see it happen to men all around. So it's something you can bet on. Nasty divorce is something men can bet on. So I don't know what's going on here. Well, I do. You are TradCon. You want to be with a woman no matter what. And so you're telling this guy the same thing, right? I'm here to tell him the obvious.
And she is the one. But if she's not, don't close the door on the future. And I know I say this having said many times, marriage, that's a no.
What? If she's not, don't close the door on the future? What are you talking about? Like stay around with her or find a new, she's the one? I mean, come on, dude.
No right now for men. But it doesn't mean we can't have relationships. Good relationships.
Well, you're full of shit, buddy. Because if guys could get good relationships, they would get married. The fact that they can't is the reason why they shouldn't get married. You know, marriage and relationships are not separate. So he gets together with some woman and just has a relationship. He's not officially married, but she can officially make him pay child support. And if you're like Canada here, you don't need to be officially married to be considered married. There's a lot of guys who made that mistake. It's called common law. Guy shacks up with a woman and the government, the authorities, decide that he is married. And so it's not just marriage. You should be avoiding relationships. Unless the MRM gets off its back and actually makes changes to society for men.
And over time, if it's a solid relationship, then sure, maybe you do get married. But at 21, it's too soon to know, my friend.
No, dude, he's been with this woman for 3 years. He knows exactly what's going on. He knows what the relationship is.
Way too soon to know. Since you've been in a 3-year relationship with her, I'm going to guess that this is your one and only relationship. And if you do choose to end it with her,
like I said, thanks for agreeing with me. This girl is special because she said yes. She fit the one criteria. She doesn't have to be a good person. She doesn't have to be, well, he wants her to be faithful. But there's all kinds of guys who women cheat on them and they stick around, right? So this guy lucked out. Well, he didn't luck out, but this woman actually said yes. And that was it. Right. And when he leaves, he's probably not going to get a chance with another one. Right.
There are plenty of other good women out there.
Dude, this girl, he said, was different from all the rest of the girls. So if she's not good enough, if she falls through, what are all the other ones going to be like?
Don't close the door on them. Be open to possibilities.
This is not all. Not all women are like that. Horseshit. No, dude, all women are like that. If they weren't, then he would have had many options, right? He's had one option and it's falling through. So there isn't plenty of good girls out there.
But also protect yourself. I do hope this helps.
How would he protect himself? Once you're in a relationship, it's over. Women can point at a guy and say that, you know, he got me pregnant. He has to pay child support. And he's not glued to the woman. She's going to kick him out. And he might be living in his car. So how is he going to protect himself other than not involving himself with her in the first place? You don't go to married men for advice.
And remember, the goal of these is to give advice. I am not a therapist. I'm not telling you what to do. And those
Well, dude, therapists would say the exact same thing as you do. They would gaslight just like you.
of you that have watched this, feel free to chime in the comments. Let's be respectful. Let's be nice. I don't pretend to know everything. Maybe.
Dude, I have no respect for this. I'm sorry. But men have been filled, you know, with this horse shit since I was a little boy and probably before then. By the 1960s, men should have known better. When women showed their true colors and second wave feminists, that's when they should have known better. There's no excuse. So that's how I'm ending it. That's my advice to this young guy, whoever he is. Uh, he's not going to obey it though. Men need to be heard because this guy will take what he gets. I think men like the abuse over freedom. They'll chop off their own arms if that was part of the getting it with together with a girl, right? That's the way it is. So I think this guy's a lost cause. He'll either be an incel, he can't get the girl because no one wants him, or he'll get into another situation like this, where some girl or woman, I should say, agrees to his bribe, and then he gets screwed over like you did. So all I get to say is I don't waste my empathy on guys like him or you. Okay.